listening to Sports Talk 916 with Greg Bull and Coach Greg Veroza.
If you'd like to participate in the show, there are a couple of ways to do it. If you want to contact us on Twitter, use the show's Twitter address, which is @SportsTalk916. For Greg B., go to @MrChief916. And for me, Coach Greg, it's @Greg Veroza. And Veroza is Varozza. And if you want to chat live with us, the best place to go is go to the Mixler page and hit chat. There you'll see all of us chatting together as the show goes on. Friends that we've always been. Hey guys, how's it going? I hope everybody survived the sauna that we had last week. I know my AC took a crap halfway through the week, or at the beginning of the week, and meant multiple trips to the car dealership. But my wallet's only about $1,500 lighter, which didn't help. But
yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, so
I found out why it's always so hot in here.
Why?
Because the vent was pointing to the ceiling, not down to us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It does feel a little cooler. Yeah, I like that.
It helps with the
it does.
Heat rises if you blow the cold air down. But
well, hey,
it is what it is. It is
All
episode
right.
213.
Dude, you're stepping on my lines.
My bad. Go ahead.
No, that's right. You already did it.
213. It is the 25th of June.
And we are the two-headed monsters of Greg that we call Sports Talk 916. Coach Greg here. Mr. Chief, Greg Bowl over there.
And he's throwing it back to the 70s.
I'm going tie-dye. Going tie-dye.
It was most difficult sleeping and shaving during the sauna we had last week. Sleeping and shaving. How does shaving...
Oh, irritation. If you got sensitive skin, hot weather sucks to shave
I
in.
haven't shaved in a bit, so I'm not
I
really
can
sure.
tell. Yeah.
I'm growing it out. Until I lose all the weight I want to lose.
Playoff beard? Is that your playoff beard?
It's my weight loss beard.
I tried that when I was laid up with the leg. Let it grow for about 3.5 weeks. It was this and about 6 spots all around, and that was it. So I said, fuck it. It's not going to work.
Nice. So this basically is going to be our NBA draft recap show. If you guys could, if you're a part of a Sacramento Kings group, share this video, this link into those groups. We would love to get feedback and insight, especially from the Vlade Divac haters, because I think a lot of people are singing a different tune this week. And that's fine, because I am too, and I believe, that's a good thing. So while you guys share and while you guys help spread the word that we're live, I would like to talk first about the lovely San Francisco Giants and how fantastic their general manager, Bobby Evans, has been this season. And if it's time for him to go, Greg, I ask you, is it time for Bobby Evans to kick rocks?
It's way past time. Oh, wait. Hold on.
Well, let's hear it. Turn it back up. Let's see if it sounds crackly or anything. Is it time for Bobby Evans to kick rocks? No, sounds good. Okay, cool. Yeah. Perfect.
So, I think it is. I don't think this team has done anything. I mean, they made 2 major acquisitions in Cueto and Melanson in the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. And everybody, any fan out there knows that our outfield has been poor for the last 2 years. Our bullpen has been more than one player away for the last 2 years.
Yes.
Starting pitching has been good, but it needs to be upgraded a little bit and weeded out a little bit. And he hasn't done that.
Nope.
And ever since Sabian got promoted, this team has not moved forward.
They haven't.
And
they moved forward in a sense that they took that team in 2014 to a championship.
But that was Sabian's team.
That was Sabian's team, you're right. But
that was Sabian's team. So Evans has done nothing. He has done nothing to help build this team over the long haul. And I heard a stat where every single one of our minor league teams
is terrible.
Is in last place.
Yep.
So there's pieces down there to bring up, but there's not that long-term solution of getting things fixed. And that goes to the scouting and the general manager staff. And I think that somebody needs to go in, and they don't need to clean house because the pieces are there still. The bases are there. The infield is set. There's even some pieces you can move around with probably your most valuable pieces, trade bait available there, and maybe Belt. I'm not sure I want to see Belt go, but that could be a valuable piece and move Posey to first base.
I'm not sure I want to do. You know what, though? I've been calling for that for months. Or months, years. I just don't think that's ever going to happen, unfortunately.
No. But the outfield is a disaster, and Pence his bat warmed up a little bit this week, and he's been hitting a lot better, been playing defense a little bit better, so I'm all right with him. Span, I mean, the best you can say about his last 2 years has been,
Yeah, but I think with Span, though, you expected that. You didn't expect to get this crazy, productive, I mean, they put him in the leadoff spot, but you weren't expecting to get, that guy.
Yeah.
You wanted consistency, which you're getting. I mean, he hasn't been terrible. His defense has been good, but it's not that wow factor. The only good thing that I think came out of this year so far is they drafted heavy on outfield prospects. And they drafted some really good outfield prospects instead of going heavy on pitching like they do every single year. And I think that's good. Unfortunately, those guys are probably 4 or 5 years down the line.
Yeah, but look at the prospects that they've had, and they've tried to play. And that was Evans' whole thing is I'm going to get a relief pitcher, and I'm going to leave the outfield to the rookies and in Williamson and
Mac's not a rookie, but Tomlinson.
Well, I mean young guys.
Slater is looking.
No. Who are the Parker?
He's back in Sac. He's
back in Sac. Yeah, but I think that was a failure. I mean, they have the budget.
Yeah, TJ, you're right. Mike, get over that shit. Quick baseball note for me. It sucked in September of 2014 when Sacramento switched from Oakland to San Francisco.
Oh, God,
all those
Mike.
championships in the outfield were when they were affiliated with Oakland. Guess what? They're still the Rivercats. All those championships, they could be affiliated with anybody.
Right.
It was just a big trade. It doesn't really matter. Oakland would have got rid of all those players anyways.
Yeah.
Just get over it, Mike. It's Sacramento's championships. Leave it at that and enjoy it.
Yeah. So this team needs to make some major overhauls. And I don't know. Cueto's not as valuable or not as
they need to trade Cueto.
Yeah, but I don't know that they're going to be able to get anything for him.
They need to get something for him. Because
the problem
Cueto's
is with his contract opting out, nobody's going to want to touch that.
Someone will. A contender this year in the playoffs will give up some pieces for him to get that playoff push.
Right.
Because Cueto, as good as he is in the regular season, Cueto is that much better in the postseason. And someone's going to pay a little bit.
But are you going to get anything that's going to help you now?
It doesn't matter. This season's lost anyways.
Yeah.
You don't need anything to help you now. The Giants aren't going to make a World Series run or even a playoff
They're not
run.
even sniff the playoffs.
Yeah.
They actually have to fight to not lose 100 games this year.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, which is scary.
Yeah.
But let's talk what people want to hear. Let's talk about the NBA draft. This was probably one of the best NBA drafts that I've seen in a long time. And I'm not just talking about from the Sacramento Kings perspective. I'm talking about this as the trades perspective, the depth, the talent level that went, the number of freshmen that went in the first round.
16.
Just everything about this draft was intriguing. And okay, Mike, well, we're done talking about baseball. Stephen Vogt was DFA. That's what I'm talking about right there. Oakland. You fall in love with a player, and then they disappear. And I don't care anymore. And someone posted on Facebook the other day, the Sacramento Kings are going to be in the playoff, big playoff picture by 2020. And someone's like, oh, hopefully the A's will be there too. I'm like, no, because in 2019, the A's will be good and then get rid of everybody and start over. So it just
hopefully, matter. I mean, and I don't want to prolong baseball talk, but, if this new stadium finally gets built, maybe that'll attract more people and make it a little smaller, make it in a nicer place, nicer part of town, and then they can generate some revenue to hold on to some people.
Yep.
But, they're not going to do it.
Absolutely not. So let's talk NBA draft. So before the draft occurred, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics made a deal to swap the 1 and 3. essentially it was for like 2 future first round picks that they're getting from Boston is getting from Philly.
I think one of them is our potential first round draft choice.
Yeah, next in 2019, it's the Kings draft that came along in the pick swap deal. They ended up going Markelle Fultz, number 1 out of Washington. That was a no-brainer. Yeah. Early on there was talks that Lonzo Ball could go 1, and I'm sorry, but I don't buy into this Lonzo Ball hype. He's going to be a good player.
The stats say that he's good. I mean, the stats are comparable to Jason Kidd.
Yeah, but the problem is though, I'm not worried about it because he's a Laker now and I can give 2 shits less. But what I'm worried about is for him and for Laker fans, I guess, is that shot. That shot is going to get blocked so much in the NBA. NBA defenders are a lot more conscious of that. They're going to just be on the ball. You put your hand over his off shoulder or over his shooting shoulder, and guess what? It's going to come right through the zone. Why is that popping?
Why is it clicking?
Oh, because the iPad just died.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, so no soundboard. That's fine. He's gonna pull through that zone. It's a lot like Kevin Martin's shot, and it took Kevin Martin a little bit to adjust that to make sure he wasn't getting blocked.
But the good thing about Ball is he's got other skills that he can rely on.
Absolutely.
He's a good ball handler.
He's a great ball handler.
He's a floor general.
Yep.
His basketball IQ is right up there. So if he doesn't have a shot, there's other ways that he can contribute, and I think he will.
Without a doubt.
And I think that, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I think the Lakers have made a couple of steps forward in the last 2 or 3 months, and I think they're not gonna be afraid to spend money on free agents.
No, not at all. Then somehow getting Brooklyn to take that Timofey Mozgov contract.
I don't know.
And to get rid of D'Angelo Russell, who's a bad locker room guy. That right there was enough.
And get Brook Lopez. Was it Brook Lopez?
They get Brook Lopez
with an expiring contract this year.
That's going to free up a bunch of money, and they get Ball, who's going to be a star. I mean, as much as I don't.
So
like
it really sounds like if you have a bad contract or you need first round draft choices, Brooklyn's the way to go.
Yeah, they're
Brooklyn's a Walmart of the NBA.
Yeah, pretty much. Aside from Lonzo Ball's shoes being terrible and his fucking dad.
His dad is. I haven't come around on Dad, but I almost see that he gets it. He gets it, and he achieved what he wanted to achieve.
Yeah, everything happened like he said. He's going to be a Laker. But did you see when they so first of all, they interview his dad before he gets drafted,
which is stupid.
And I'm like, you know what? Did you see my Facebook post? I said if Ball doesn't go number 2. They need to make sure that they have a camera on Dad.
I did see that.
And then in the middle of that, I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if he went up on stage with him.
I thought he might, too.
I thought he would just prance up there alongside of him. And then they interview Lonzo after, and then they cut to LeVar, and they show a split screen of Lonzo's face. And he's like, I'm going to tell you right now, my son is going to lead the Lakers to the playoffs this year. Come back to me. I'm like... And you could see Lonzo's face just go, Dad, shut the fuck up.
Well, the good thing is he's in the NBA now. And Magic Johnson's going to tell LeVar Ball to go fuck himself.
Ken says, I hope Fox torches Ball and the rivalry returns. The problem with that statement, and I agree 100% on that, but until we meet in the playoffs again, the rivalry is not going to be there. But there's going to be a lot more intrigue now to these 4 games a season because, the angst is still there. These 2 teams still don't like each other. But the fact that Fox, basically dominated Ball in this, the NCAA season this year and in the tournament, it adds a lot more intrigue.
Yeah.
That's going to be the marquee matchup that you're like, yes, I can't wait for this game because otherwise it's like, okay, we're watching the game. If it's at Golden 1, you're like watching for fans in the stands that are going to start fighting or whatever.
Right.
There wasn't a lot to it, but now we actually have something on the court that's like, okay, let's watch this game.
Well, I heard today, somebody said it on one of the Talking Head shows, and they were talking about rivalries in sports. And in order to have a rivalry, it requires that you have parity.
Yep.
And that was part of my problem, and I'm going way off track here, so I'll keep it short. That was one of my problems with all the people that were saying that the Warriors were our rivals right before the NBA Finals started. We're not, because there's no parity. There's very little chance that
that the Kings are going to beat the Warriors over the long haul. There's like none chance. And so there's no rivalry. And there's a rivalry with the Lakers because of history, and we both suck.
Yeah.
We both suck.
So Barnbaum says, besides Fox, well, actually, let's get back to that, Mike, because I want to. I'll pin that so that we can just come back to it. I want to get to the rest of the draft picks. So the Kings. So Ball goes 2, and then number 3 comes up, and it's Jason Tatum. Boston takes Jason Tatum, arguably one of the best small forwards in the draft.
And their hands are kind of tight. Did you hear that Josh Jackson refused to? And they were in Sacramento. Danny Ainge was on a plane to Sacramento because that's where he was going to do his workout. And
now, was that Josh Jackson or Justin Jackson? Josh. Yeah, he was going to do his workout here.
He was going to do his workout here.
Ainge was pissed.
Ainge was pissed. And Ainge, he said, they asked him, well, what did you think about flying all the way out to Sacramento? And nothing. He goes, well, I was kind of pissed because there's nothing to do in Sacramento.
Right. And a lot of Kings fans are like, oh, fuck Danny Ainge.
Yeah, whatever.
To be real, he was all right. He's right.
He's right. There isn't anything to do.
So Jackson goes 4, or I'm sorry, Tatum goes 3. So they went with the one that they got a workout out of.
Right.
Josh Jackson goes 4 to Phoenix, and that's when Sacramento starts going nuts. De'Aaron Fox, the kid that everyone wanted, the kid that wanted to be a part of this, is on the board at 5. In my opinion, is the better point guard of the draft over Ball.
With all the intangibles that he brings,
minus shooting. I mean,
yeah, but again, I don't want to shoot first point guard. I don't want that. That's why I didn't want what's his face, Smith Jr.
Yeah,
I didn't want him because the ball gets into a black hole of the point guard and never gets around. I want to see movement. I want to see passing. And I think Fox is going to lead that.
I agree. So Fox comes up. Jonathan Isaac is a big power forward, goes 6. Laurel Markkanen is arguably the best shooter in the draft, goes to Minnesota at 7. But that trade was preceded, or that pick was preceded by the jaw-dropping trade of the draft,
right?
Which was Zach LaVine, the point guard that they took last year, and I just went blank on him. The kid that everyone in the Kings wanted last year,
right?
And the 7 pick to Chicago for their pick and Jimmy Butler,
right?
And you're like, holy crap! So Jimmy Butler gets reunited with Tom Thibodeau, Chris Dunn, and James Hines says, "Tie-dye, yikes!" So you get that trade. So the Bulls get a great shooter. You combine that now with McDermott. You have Dwayne Wade opting back in. The Bulls are going to be looking like a better team now. Yeah. Nick, I'm going to say his name wrong. Tilkina, sure, from France, point guard. Another people had him very high. Goes 8 to the Knicks. Number 9, Dennis Smith, another good point guard out of North Carolina State, goes to Dallas. And then the Kings come up, and you're like, okay, here we go. Who are we going to get? Malik Monk is still on the board. Jackson's still on the board. Like, what's going to happen here? And all of a sudden, boom, trade. You're like, okay, are we trading back to 12? Or are we trading back a little bit? And it was a trade with Portland. And what I like about this is they get 15 and 20, and they didn't have to take on any bad contracts from Portland, which a lot of the rumor was it's going to be like an Evan Turner deal to move up with Portland. You're going to have to take on a bad contract. And Vlade gets 15 and 20, which means we essentially got Buddy Hield, 15 and 20. So 2 first-round picks for DeMarcus Cousins.
Which is great.
Which makes that trade look so much better. And they take Zach Collins, the center out of Gonzaga, for Portland. Malik Monk goes 11.
I would have liked to have Collins. That's who I would have picked
if
there.
If we wouldn't have drafted 4 centers last year, it makes more sense. Luke Kennard goes 12. Donovan Mitchell gets taken at 13, traded to the Jazz. And then the Kings come up at 15, take Justin Jackson, small forward out of North Carolina. Everyone loves that pick. He's going to be he's a little bit raw, but he's going to be a good player.
Yeah.
DJ Wilson, TJ Leaf, John Collins goes 17, 18, 19. And then the Kings get Harry Giles, the 6'10" center out of Duke, who's coming off of 3 major knee injuries. But
he's not the lead singer. No, never mind.
No,
I won't do that. Everyone
did that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people said that before the knee injuries, he was they reminded him of a very young Chris Webber.
Before the knee injuries would have been predicted as the top pick in the draft, which is the second year in a row that Vladdy's made that pick.
Came off of a knee injury.
Made that same pick.
And Scal looked damn good.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch video pre-knee, explosive. If you watch videos now, explosive. And ESPN did a story on him, and I believe CBS Sports also did one, basically saying that he has the potential of being the comeback story of the NBA for a number of years, because they're thinking that the ceiling is as high as it can be for this kid coming back. So they go 20. We fast forward all the way into round 2, and a lot of Kings fans go nuts over this because Frank Mason Jr. is still on the board at round 2. They get him at 34.
Right.
Another highly regarded point guard.
Yeah.
So now it leads me to Barnbaum's question. He says, besides Fox, who Kings fans are raving about? Who is your remaining favorite pick? Justin Jackson, Henry Giles, or Frank Mason III?
I think Giles is my favorite pick.
He's mine as well.
And I would give Mason a close second.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I was going to say. I feel that we know what we're getting with Mason.
Yep.
We know what we're getting with Jackson. The intrigue with Giles is there.
Mason, was it Mason, the player of the year
in
college basketball last year?
Yep. So my buddy texted me about this, and he was like, damn, Vladdy finally did something right. And I hadn't seen it like this, but he says, well, first of all, Vladdy picked from 3 schools basically only. UNC, Duke, and Kansas.
Well, you got to, if you're going to build a winning culture, you got to have winning players.
He gets the ACC Player of the Year, the National Player of the Year, and he pulls a guy like Giles who's coming back with potential through the roof.
Right.
And a kid that wants to be here in Fox, who's going to be the future of this team, I believe.
And pulled off the trade of the year last year that turned into half those players that were drafted this year.
Then you still have the prospect of Bogdanovic coming over, which a lot of people are starting to think more and more that he's going to now.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, when's the last time you think, the Kings, obviously not Vlade Divac, but when's the last time you think the Kings pulled off a draft that actually had people talking about it? I mean, Yahoo had the Kings winning the draft. CBS Sports gave him an A+ grade.
ESPN turned their tides and said that the Kings had the best draft.
Yeah, but then an article came out today from ESPN that ranked the Lakers at number 1 and the Kings at 28th.
Huh?
Yeah, another article came out. It's a complete Homer East Coast bias bullshit article. But at the same time, it's like Vlade absolutely stole this draft. Aside from Minnesota, I think the Kings probably made the biggest splash and made the best picks.
Now you got to make sure you put an asterisk on that because
we don't know how it's going to come out.
We don't know how it's going to come out. And I went back just for fun and looked at draft grades from last year.
Okay.
Philadelphia had an A+ on the list that I saw from Bleacher Report.
For last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
How'd they do in that draft? They got nothing out of that.
We don't know how they did on that draft.
Well, but still.
Ben Simmons didn't
But
play.
how do you give an A+ to that?
That's true. Based on name only.
Based on name only. So, based on potential, based on what they've done in college, but not necessarily is going to translate, I would hope that 2 of these guys make an impact. Based on potential, we won the draft. I think overall our draft picks showed the most potential than anybody else. Now, it's not necessarily going to translate to who makes the biggest impact NBA-wise, but there's definitely a chance. And so that's where I go back. And then I went back also and looked at New Orleans, and they got an A- for the Buddy Hield pick, which we now have. Mm-hmm. So, you transfer that back over to Vlade, and in the last 2 years, he's got an A and an A- or an A+ and an A-. And I think those guys that he drafted made a much bigger impact than anybody ever thought. Scal made a big impact.
George Papagiannis started to make a big impact.
Yeah, I mean, so there's potential. I do have one question, though. Mm-hmm. Are we too young now?
No, because free agency's coming. And, I mean, if you look at the roster right now, God, yes, we're too young.
Okay.
We have nobody on this roster.
No.
Literally no veteran. Well, who's our oldest veteran right now? Garrett Temple?
Collison?
He's not even on the roster.
Oh, that's right.
He's a
He's
free
not.
agent. Ty Lawson, free agent. Garrett Temple is our vet, which is a good vet to have.
Yeah.
But can he by himself manage all of the young guys?
No.
And no, the answer is no. So that leads me to this.
We got a ton of cap room to
Free
play
agency.
with it. Yeah.
So before the draft and before Bogdanovich declares whether he comes over or not, the Kings after who was it that just declined? Langston Galloway declined his player option. After that happened, the Kings had $67 million in cap space.
Wow.
Then they released Aaron Aflalo. So that's another $10 million off the books, or $8 million. So now the Kings have roughly, let's say, $75 million just for, I don't know how much of a hit there was on Aflalo, if there was any at all. And then you add in the rookies, you're probably going to be about $65 million in cap space, which allows the Kings to be very aggressive.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of guard, because really what the Kings need now is a solid 2 or a 3.
I would say a 3. They need to replace.
Iggy's not coming here, unfortunately, James.
No, he's not. They need to replace Gay. Gay was not a. He was hope. It was hope that he'd be the veteran leadership, but he wasn't.
Right.
And I think a lot of that. Well, we don't know why that didn't happen.
Now let me ask you this: Do you bring in Darren Collison? Do you bring Collison back? Because he's gone on the record now on 1140 a few times and said he wants to be back here. He would like coming back if the offers are right.
I think you can get him cheap.
Domestic violence bullshit aside,
Yeah.
do you think that Collison, being a score-first point guard, is the guy you want to be your veteran point guard to mentor Mason and Fox? Because to me, that breaks the mold of exactly what we're looking those guys to be.
I agree. No, you're right.
So if we go through point guards that are available,
this isn't a real strong free agent class.
it's not. Like if you look at it, you have Aaron Brooks. I'm looking at
We've been down that road before.
I'm looking at 6-year or higher as far as a point guard goes. God damn, Vince Carter's been in the league for 19 years.
Yeah.
And he wants to sign with Golden State. You see that?
No.
He said he'll take a pay cut to sign with the
That's
Warriors.
cool. I would. That would
Steph
be
is at
awesome.
8 years, but he's not leaving Golden
He's not
State.
going anywhere.
Tyreek Evans is at 8 years, but he's leaving SAC. He's not coming back.
No.
Raymond Felton, 12-year vet. He's always been a great locker room guy.
Yeah. Do you need a locker room guy that can play and contribute, or do you just need a locker room guy?
I think you need a player. You need a contributor early on until what you need is and Darren Collison said exactly this. He said that he understands that if he were to come back, that his sole job is to make these young guys better for him to lose his job.
Oh, that's
And
good.
he
I
gets
like
that.
that attitude. I like Collison's attitude.
So
I like
what
him as a player, but I'm not sure that his game is what we need to.
So
to
what we
do.
would need to find is why is this pinned? What we need to find is a player that has that mentality that can come in here and do that. Randy Foye is out there. I don't think Randy Foye is the right one.
No.
Tim Hardaway Jr., he's at 4 years, and he doesn't really fit what we're looking for. Ty Lawson, I don't think he's the guy you want. Kyle Lowry's not going to be coming here. Ben McLemore can go to hell.
Is McLemore still on the roster?
He's a restricted free agent.
Yeah.
What about Patty Mills? Golden State, or a San Antonio guy, 8 years in the league.
I would like that. I think I could work with that.
Barnbaum, we're talking point guards, and sure as hell not signing goddamn Blake Griffin here.
No.
Derrick Rose, former league MVP. He doesn't need to be the guy. I know he says he wants to stay in New York. If he's healthy, I mean, I don't know that
Yeah, I could do that. I mean, I'm not in love with that, but...
James says, please move the poster over. Your head's blocking the view.
Oh.
So we'll do this just for James. I don't need to be in the shot the whole time.
Now you get to look at my tie-dye T-shirt more. That's all you wanted to do, James. I know.
No, once it pans, you'll see the full poster. Ramon Sessions, no.
No, been down that road.
Jeff Teague,
Yeah.
Jason Terry?
No.
What about Bano? And that's it. And then Swaggy P. I mean,
no.
That's your point guards. Darren Williams isn't going to come here.
What are your threes?
As far as threes go,
Because I think if you got a big veteran presence at 3, you could go with the young rookies. And
Yeah.
if Bogdanovich comes over, he's not really a rookie. He's been playing long enough to where, so I'd be all right with that. If you put a veteran at 3.
I'm trying to make the fans happy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You perv.
There we go. So your threes, your forwards, you have Matt Barnes, Michael Beasley, Vince Carter, Omri is an unrestricted free agent.
He's not coming back.
Durant's not going to sign here. You have Gallinari,
Yeah, maybe.
Gerald Green from Boston,
Yeah.
Blake Griffin's a 3-4.
No. He's not coming here.
Hayward's not going to come here, although I would love that.
Oh, yeah.
Andre Iguodala.
Nah, I doubt it.
We could bring James Johnson back. We could bring James Jones back. He's been in the NBA Finals 8 years in a row. He's the reason why LeBron's been so successful.
That's right.
I guess we wouldn't bring him back. What about Luke Bahamute?
What did he do when he was here the first time, though?
Well, they tried to bring him back last time, and they screwed it up with the damn whatever. Paul Millsap, Nene.
Now,
Nerlens
if it was 5 years ago, I'd be going to Nene's door and
jerking him off to sign.
Yeah, but he's just too old now.
Here's the guy I want, and I want the Kings to throw every bit of money at him. And I didn't mention his name because I wasn't sure if he was a shooting guard or a small forward. Otto Porter. I want them to take a Brinks truck of money, back it up to Otto Porter's door, and say, "Come be our starting small forward." I'd be all for that.
Is he in Washington?
He was. He's a restricted free agent, though.
Restricted?
Can we trade for Kenneth Faried? I don't want Faried doesn't match. I don't think Faried matches here anymore. Tony Snell. He's only been in the league for 4 years. Meta World Peace is still around. And then Nick Young is back. Nick Young's just going to haunt us on these lists every single time. God. I would love to see Otto Porter.
The only thing that scares me is the restricted free agent. Yeah. Washington's going to match anything that anybody gets.
I'm not convinced they are, honestly.
You don't?
I'm not sure that they are. But like you said, though, it's a thin.
It's a horrible free agent class.
It's a horrible free agent class.
Which, I'd almost be all right. I think we're still thin at 3 at small forward. Mm-hmm. I think we're really hurting there. Pick up a couple guys that can play all right, that are good locker room guys, and you know what? Let's just throw the ball out there and let the rookies get their asses kicked for a couple of years.
You might as well. You have team control for a number of years. You might as well experiment.
Yeah.
Barnbaum says, Teague, to TJ's point, I would give Teague a try, sign him for 1 year. You don't need to give Teague a try. He's led poor Indiana teams for a number of years, and proven that he can lead a team.
Yeah.
If you sign Teague, you sign him to a 3 or 4 year deal.
I like Teague. I like Teague. I like Teague a lot.
Maybe a 2-year deal. That way you give Fox the reins after 2 years.
Two with
a year.
2 with
player option.
Yeah.
Or do you give him like a Flalo guy, a 2-year deal with a player option after 1?
Yeah.
Or a team option after 1.
Yeah.
And he may be a guy that can lead Fox down the right path.
But I still say I think that we need to really put our emphasis on a 3 guard, our 3 power forward, or small forward. And the other thing is we have pieces. We have tradable pieces now too.
Do we really? Who is tradable on this roster? I mean, honestly.
Well, we got a logjam at 2 guard, right?
Yeah.
We have a logjam at point guard with potential.
Okay.
I think you can get a couple of pieces with them.
We don't have any draft picks to trade, which makes it tough.
Right. I think we could now if we sign McLemore. I know you're up on this, and I keep forgetting. If we sign McLemore, can we trade him, or does he have to wait a certain amount of time?
It would have to be a sign and trade. I think you'd have to wait a certain amount of time to get rid of him. It'd be like that weird July or like mid-year date, like May something.
Really, you think so?
I think so.
We can't do a sign and trade with him right away.
You can do a sign and trade with him, but that team has to agree with it. You can't sign him and then like a week later,
Right.
trade
So that's what I'm saying. We could do a sign and trade.
Yeah,
he's a trade piece. As much as we hate him,
yeah,
he's definitely he might be our biggest trade bait.
He's just going to benefit from a change of scenery. I really believe so.
So there's something that we could trade for, and maybe pick up a mid-level or small forward, and that might solve a lot of our problems.
We still have Kosta Koufis, who's on a very, very friendly deal.
Yeah.
They signed him before the salary cap jump.
Yeah.
As much as I don't like to say it, if Bogdanovic comes over, I think Malachi Richardson is a very, very promising trade piece.
Yeah.
And depending on the offer, and again, I hate to say this, but with the way that Big George and Scal played, I almost feel like Willie Cauley-Stein could be a trade piece. But that would have to be dependent on a very good offer.
Oh, it'd have to be a really good offer.
And
you'd have to get a number one that isn't lottery protected.
No, TJ, if McLemore goes, De'Aaron Fox should be the new pizza guy. They need to kill off the pizza guy. I am so tired of that gimmick. It is so stupid.
But it's gotten the pizza guys a lot of play, even on national TV.
I don't care. Get rid
of
the thing.
In fact, Isaiah still calls himself the pizza guy, and I think...
Does he really?
I think so, yeah.
Wow. That's awesome, in a way. For the 15-man roster, I'm of the belief that you need 3-point guards. Right now we have Fox, Collison, and perhaps a free agent we don't have Collison. We have Fox and Mason Jr.
And Bogdanovic.
Bogdanovic is a 2.
Yeah, but he can play point, though, too.
And I don't believe you have to have 3. It's best practice to have 3, simply for the fact that if one goes down, you don't need to go out and scoop one off free agency.
But if you have a small forward that can handle the ball,
like
I mean,
LeBron.
Yeah. So you can get away with a point forward. You can get away with a 2-guard running the offense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think
so. Bogdanovic could be an option there if you really want to run with 2 rookies at the point, though. Now let me go back though on that. Technically, yes, it's 2 rookies. Fox is a one and done freshman out of
Washington,
Kentucky.
Oh, Fox, Kentucky, yeah.
But Frank Mason Jr. is a 4-year senior.
Yeah.
So technically, while he is a rookie, he's more advanced. I mean, other than probably Ball, he's probably the most, and I say Ball even though he was a one and done, his basketball IQ is through the roof.
Right.
The way he sees the floor, I mean,
right.
He reminds me of Magic Johnson, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Not as polished, but the floor vision, things like that, I can see it. But Mason III is as polished as you're going to get, actually being a 4-year guard coming out of college.
And then when we talked to Scott Pard that night, that's kind of what he said too. Was he liked Mason?
Yeah, he
liked him because of his experience and his floor general stuff.
Exactly. So that may be a safe bet to run a 2 rookie point guard system, which I like because then you can focus elsewhere.
Right.
The pizza guy should be Georgia Papa John's. If so sponsored, to change the pizza guys to Papa John's. No, you can't just change sponsors, Mike. They pay a lot of money. Oh, timeout. Side note, Mike.
Uh-oh.
Fox is not wearing 40. That is the... First of all, he's from Texas. He does not give a fuck about Fox 40. And if I'm not mistaken, one, Fox 40 doesn't even carry Kings games.
No.
They don't give a damn about the Kings. I mean, they cover them, but they're not going to... No.
40.
Stupid. Mike, just stop.
He could wear number 2 because Fox in San Francisco is Fox KTVU too.
And you know what also sucks? Being that he is 0 in college, all through college, he can't wear 0 on the Kings. You can't have a 0 and a 00.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh.
So if they trade Willie, he could switch to 0, but you can't have 0 and 00.
Wow.
I wouldn't mind seeing him wearing 5. I mean, I know they put up that press conference picture. He had 5.
And then again, Mike, those jerseys they had were not the numbers they're wearing.
Nope.
It was draft position.
It was draft position.
You made it way too big of a deal out of that, Mike.
Yeah, so there's that opportunity. I think 5 would look good on him because I haven't been excited about a number 5 since Tyus Edney wore it. So another exciting little point guard piece would be awesome. Actually, 2 is retired. Good call there, Veroza.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It is.
Many teams have 0 and 00. I read that you cannot have 0 and 00. If I'm wrong, great. Let him wear 0. And if that's the case, he'll wear 0. And
didn't somebody else have 0 that got drafted too?
Thomas Robinson had. Talking about on that wore 0 in college this recent year. I'm not sure. Oh. Mike Tavares texted me earlier today that you can. Oh, if you can have both, then I hope he wears 0 because I will buy a Fox jersey. Because I think this kid is going to be fantastic.
And I can hear it right now. He shoots and makes a 3.
Ring, ding, 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 ding,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're going to have a lot of fun with that. Or when he checks in, it's going to be, what does the Fox say?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he wore 5 in high school. Thanks, James Hines.
Oh.
So 5 or 0 would work out for me. One of my buddy that texted me about the ACC Player of the Year and all that, he's like, you're going to be trying to get those season tickets back. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a partner, we may be in the mix next year. Once we clear
I got to get some money together to start paying for mine.
Once we clear some debt, we'll be looking into that.
Yeah.
I'm on record. I'll be purchasing a Fox jersey as well. Frank Mason. Wait, Mason wore 5 in high school? I don't know. James is jumping all over the place here.
Focus, James.
Let me ask you this, though. As a season ticket holder and as a lifelong Kings fan or a longtime Kings fan.
Kings lifetime.
Yeah. Is this... How long has it been since you've been this excited about
2002.
Yeah? When they brought in all those...
Well, 98.
99.
98, 99 when they brought all those guys in. Yep. It's the first time since then that I could see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
And I liked what they've done. And you can see a direction that they've gone, not just adding.
Sorry, no.
Is that Barn Bomb?
Barn Bomb says, do the Kings have any talent that they can... It's a good question. Do the Kings have any talent that they can bring to their roster from the 2016 Reno team?
No.
What about Jaleel Cousins or Heald's college teammates? So that would be Cousins, Isaiah Cousins. There wasn't enough out of any of those guys to say we don't need to. We could swap out like a Mason Jr. and send him down to Reno or whatever. Like
I think those guys are going to be back and forth. Vlade proved last year that he likes using the Reno.
Mason was 0 at Kansas.
Yeah, I thought somebody else did.
But the thing is, though, I don't think if you're going to groom Fox and Mason to be your future backcourt duo or your future point guard tandem, they need to learn in SAC. They don't learn in Reno. They just need to be thrown in and they need to learn.
Yeah. I mean, we're not – they're not going to win 50 games next year.
No.
They're not going to make the playoffs. They might win – they probably will win 35.
What if they make the playoffs? Like, what if this?
I'm fine. You know what? I'm fine with them making the playoffs because we don't have a first round draft choice next year.
That's true. They use it's a G League, TJ, and then also these young guys will play in the summer league, so we'll get our first view of these guys in July.
I'm fine with them making an 8th place run next year.
James Hines says, "Bring Teague over. He wore 0 also."
We could have a whole team of zeros.
It'll be 0, 00, 000, 100. We'll just be the zeros. No, we don't want to be that.
We've been for the last 20 years.
We have been. So, in real quick, in non-Kings related news, it's kind of Kings related, but not really. Ice Cube's Big 3 League started today.
Oh, I know.
That 3-on-3 league.
That.
And Jason Williams, former King White Chocolate, went down with a gruesome knee injury. Yeah. A lot of people said it buckled and blew out right, but he walked off on his own power, which is good.
He had help. But he was laying on the floor screaming, too.
For like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that sucks.
Yeah.
Speaking of Reno, there was a rumor, or is it fact, that this is the last season in Reno is stocked in their home. There's been talks about relocating them to a closer proximity. And that's not that saying that Reno is necessarily a better or a further proximity from, say, Stockton. But you got to remember that the NBA season runs August through, what is it, June, March? No, April. They're in April. So the winter, it makes it tough to get these guys down on a quick trip down from Reno if necessary with the weather the way it is. That's why if you notice that, the Bighorns played a couple Sacramento does have our pick next year. In 2019, we don't.
Oh, okay.
In recent years, the Bighorns started playing some of their games down here. It's because of weather reasons.
Right.
And that's when they were flip-flopping Big George and those guys left and right. I could see Stockton happening. I could see them playing at like the Convention Center or Memorial Auditorium, like somewhere little here in town.
Maybe UC Davis.
UC Davis, they play at the Hornets Nest and at Sac State. Like, there's a lot of places they could play.
Well, Hornets, I wouldn't see them at the Hornets. That's way too small.
Have you been to a Bighorns game?
No.
They got like 84 people in there.
Really?
It's not crazy.
Yeah, but you know what? If
in Sac, it may help.
They'll draw more in Sacramento.
Especially if they have games when the Kings are gone.
Yeah. And
I'm sure that they'll offer some kind of like super discount season ticket holder pricing.
Yeah.
Come in for like a nickel, you know what I mean, and spend $40 on a hot dog, just to even things out. But you got in for a nickel,
right.
So there's that. But I don't know. I'm really looking forward to. Sorry, I was camping all week.
You got fleas, ticks,
I might.
Lyme disease.
Maybe I'm sunburnt like 3 times over. I'm peeling and I just got burnt on top of it. I stabbed myself like my little heart band-aid.
Oh.
I was cutting a zip tie off my fishing pole.
Nice.
And it slipped and went into my hand and out so fast it didn't even bleed. It was a paper cut basically, but the knife went in that far.
Ouch.
I just held something on it and it sealed back up. Like, it literally felt like a paper cut, but it was like 1/8 of an inch on the knife.
So were you out of Hello Kitty and My Little Pony Band-Aids?
No, this is the only Band-Aid we had in our entire cabin was this one little heart Band-Aid. But Davis would be interesting to play. I hope they stay in Reno though, honestly. Like,
you know what? It's
Reno
only a 25-minute flight from Reno to Sacramento.
Yeah, and if you know you're going to be calling a guy up, guess what? You look at the weather and go, "Oh, we need to fly him out a little bit early."
Right.
I'm sorry, you can't play in the Bighorns game at 5 and then come here for the 7:30 tip-off. Like, you're going to just have to not play as much.
You're not going to be able to do that in Stockton either, though.
Exactly, and that was one of the things that they did this year that was so interesting was when the Bighorns were playing at Golden One. You know, Papa and Scal and those guys. They were playing in the Bighorns game, and then they were called up to the Kings game the same night. And it's like, okay, are we burning the candle on both ends of these dudes right now? Like,
they need to play.
It's true.
They need to play.
But I don't know the draft. What do you give Vladdy on the draft?
What are we basing it on?
Sight unseen, just the draft itself. The way that I feel that he fleeced Portland. Essentially, I mean, in a way, he fleeced New Orleans for that trade with Cousins. You basically got 3 first-round picks for DeMarcus Cousins because you got. Buddy
This is the dumbest thing that anybody does in sports is give grades to drafts 2 days after the draft. With that being said, and you holding a gun to my head,
it's 3 days after the draft, so we're okay.
Oh, okay.
If it were 2 days, I'd agree with you.
Right. I'd give him an A. I mean, he made.
TJ says A+.
Every pick that he made was the right pick to make.
Absolutely.
You know, when it came time, he took I hate to say the best player available, but he took the best player that fits into the system that he's trying to build. And there was no head scratching. Every time he made a pick, it was like, oh, yeah, I like that.
Did he not take the best player available? Because if you think about it, he did.
He picked the best player available. Because there was a couple players when he picked when we picked at 15. There's a couple other players that you could have taken. I don't remember off the top of my head right now.
So at 15... So let's say this. At 5, he took De'Aaron Fox.
That was a no-brainer. I could have made that pick.
Jonathan Isaac. Let's go to 3 after. Jonathan Isaac, Laurel Markkanen. Okay, those guys are nowhere near De'Aaron Fox.
No.
Nilkatina, whatever the hell his name is.
He was probably the one that if I didn't take Fox, I would have taken.
Right, but you're not going to take him over Fox in any way, shape, or form.
No.
At 10, we didn't pick. At 15, we took Justin Jackson. But the next 4 picks after Jackson, Justin Patton, a center out of Creighton, DJ Wilson at a power forward, Michigan, TJ Leaf, power forward, UCLA, John Collins, power forward. So technically, if you're going to say, sure, those guys are better, there was no need, even if it's best available at that point, you can't take a power forward on this Kings team.
No.
You have too many of them.
Yeah, no.
And then at 20, we take Giles, who, you know, is a... It's a knee, right? You're like,
it's
okay,
a question
does
mark.
It help?
It's a question mark.
Terrence Ferguson goes next, the shooting guard out of Australia.
Which there were some people that liked him.
Okay. Jared Allen, a center out of Texas.
Man, we don't need him.
OG Anunoby, a small forward out of Indiana.
A lot of people liked him.
And then Tyler Lydon, a power forward out of Syracuse.
Those three, I wouldn't have been upset with any one of those three, but I think he made the best pick for this team.
Yeah.
At that spot. So I think, maybe I can't give an A+ to anybody. You can't do it on a draft.
I give him an A.
I give him a solid A.
But so let me ask you this, though, because everyone after last year's draft and the trade for Cousins was looking to crucify Vlade Divac. You trade for Bogdan Bogdanovic, who's like, I may never come over. Okay, that's a concern. Then they draft Papagiannis with that pick. Everyone's like, why?
Who?
Yeah, and then they take Scal later on.
And everybody says who? Right,
which obviously Calipari and everyone was like, no, he would have been the best player in the draft.
Yeah.
And then Malachi Richardson. And you're like, okay, it was a good draft. And then people saw Malachi play and they kind of turned the coin on Vlade a little bit. Like, that's good. And then Scal played and they're like, oh, Vlade made a great pick. And then Big George, obviously he's going to be kind of a top.
He's going to be that 10th, 11th, 12th guy on the bench that if you need somebody in there for 5 fouls or 6 fouls, you bring him in.
Right.
He gets a couple rebounds. He's going to be a piece that you can count on for a few
George?
years. Yeah.
Now he got a lot better at the end of the year.
Yeah,
he
did.
Come into his own.
He did.
And then Vlade kind of evened his scale out a little bit when Scal started playing, right? And then Malachi started playing, then he got hurt, so that obviously kind of abruptly ended that. But then they make the trade for Cousins.
And that's when you and I turned the corner on Vlade.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people like us were okay with it in the sense that it was time for Cousins to go. But I think you would agree that me and you both thought they didn't get enough for him.
Yeah, I
felt like it was rushed and they could have got more at the time, right? And you're like, okay, Buddy Hield was taken early. That's a good pick. He was taken 6th. And then you have, Tyreek Evans expiring deal. You have Langston Galloway expiring deal. That's great for the future. But then you're like, but you basically got Buddy Hield for Cousins, and then you're like, I'm not sure how that works out. But then you come up to this draft. And that New Orleans pick and we got the first round pick for New Orleans, the swap, right?
Right.
Or the top 3 protected. And you're like, okay, that's not so bad. Then we got 10. We're like, oh, we got 2 draft picks, cool. And then he trades that for 15 and 20, and you look at it and you're like, damn, we traded essentially 3 first round picks for Cousins. If that would have been the deal. If it would have been that New Orleans had 15 and 20 already, like let's say they already had 2 first-round picks, and they gave us Buddy Hield for DeMarcus Cousins, Vlade would have had a statue built for him outside of the arena.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
there's one other piece to that that's completely luck that I think solidified what Vlade's done, and that's the lottery. Had we not moved up from 8th to 5th. Third, yeah. Had we not moved up from 8 to 3 and then put us in a position to get Fox, the only saving grace is the French guy, would he go to New York? 8. So we would have been in position probably to get him, which I would have been fine with, but I wouldn't have been nearly as excited about him as I am about Fox. So I think probably one of the top 3 biggest pieces of this whole thing was winning the lottery.
Yeah, and essentially, that's just a matter of an about time. Like, we deserve that.
I know, right?
TJ says if he does get a statue, it needs to have a cigarette in his hand, and it needs to glow. Like, if people walk by, there needs to be, like, pressure plates around it, where if you step on it, his cigarette glows. No, Barn Bomb, he shouldn't. That was a joke.
What's that?
Vlade should have a statue built outside of G1C, just like Magic does. No. Kevin Johnson, maybe, or David Stern should have one outside.
Or Jeff Petrie.
Yeah, but Vlade doesn't get a statue.
If
they win the championship next year, I will put in $1 toward a Vlade Divac.
If Vlade does get a statue, it has to be him laying on his back.
Flop, or in mid-flop.
Right. with somebody putting a shoulder into him, somebody putting a hand out on him.
Or just a shoulder, or just a hand. Like Shaq
Right.
has the rim
Right.
and the dunk.
Right.
Yeah, just like a hand or a forearm.
Yeah.
And Vladdy like 6 feet away
Sprawled-
from it.
sprawled
Yeah.
out.
That would be great. Dwayne Coswell would get a statue before Vladdy. That might be an accurate statement. So we're happy about the Kings draft.
Yes.
We're happy about their situation going into.
I think we're happy about the direction they're going in right now.
Yeah, and honestly, with a weak free agent class, because if you think about the top, if you think about them, the top free agents, Gordon Hayward probably going to go to Boston.
Yeah.
Kings have 0 chance.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant's going to re-sign with Golden State. Steph Curry's going to re-sign with Golden State. Andre Iguodala's going to go. If he said he's open to leaving Golden State. If he leaves, he's going to probably go to Cleveland or some other contender.
Would he go back to San Antonio? Did he play in San Antonio?
No, he played in Denver and Philly.
Do you think he'd go to San Antonio?
I could see him going to. That'd be a nasty backup for Kawhi.
Oh, I know.
So you take off, Kyle Lowry, no shot. You take off the top, 5 to 7. It's a crapshoot where people are going to end up because they're not going to be pieces that the contenders are going to be like, I need you to win a championship. Those guys aren't there.
Right.
So the Kings are going to have as good a shot as anybody to get some of those upper level, mid level guys. They're not going to get the A guys, but the B plus guys.
And they're going to have to overpay.
And they're going to
have to overpay.
But I almost wonder if the direction that Vlade is going right now with this youth movement is going to excite some of those players.
I think after next year it will. If the rookies pan out and play well, no matter how many games they win, but if you can see that there's something going on down the road, absolutely, I think this place will be an attractive place to play.
I honestly think that just looking at the roster now, Fox, Scal, Willie, if Bogdanovic comes over, some of those older guys that have been stuck in those old rhythmic style situations, like a Toronto, a San Antonio. Well, you're probably not going to leave San Antonio, but like a Toronto, a New York stuck in the triangle, Orlando that doesn't have direction, Portland that lost its direction. Those guys that are older, but they still feel like they can play that up and down basketball. That watch Golden State and go, damn, that would be fun to play in. But there's not a spot for me in Golden State because they're stacked. They may be like, you know what? I have 2 years left. I'm going to go play.
And Vladdy knows how to play that game in Golden State plays.
Right.
That's what, that was 2002 Kings.
Yep.
And he knows how to do that. And I think that's what's got me excited is he's getting players that can contribute to that kind of offense.
Agreed. So I think that honestly, if there's one of those fringe veteran guys that maybe already has a ring or knows that there's not a spot right now on one of those contender guys, and because believe it or not, there still are guys in this league that aren't just solely chasing a ring. Like everyone wants to win a championship, but some guys have come to accept that, hey, you know what, the rosters I'm on, I'm not that guy that's going to be brought in like a Darren Williams or a Derek Williams or whatever those guys that got brought into Cleveland mid-year. I'm not one of those guys. I just want to have fun the last couple of years I have while I still can be an NBA player. Sacramento may be an intriguing place for someone like that. And it's been a long time since the Kings, you can even say that they may be an intriguing place for anybody.
Yeah.
Except for a coach that's going to get paid for 6 months and then bail and have 4 years of payment left. You know what I mean? So,
well, I think we have a good coaching situation now, too.
Yeah. When does free agency start? It's
July
soon.
1st?
Is it July 1st?
I think it's July.
TJ? Oh. Beer farts. I'm pretty sure it's July 1. So we're, a week away? My watch is dead.
Yeah.
I'm just falling apart.
You are a electronic wipeout today.
I was gone all weekend.
Riding horses.
I was.
Yeehaw.
Yep. And I look damn good.
Get along, doggy.
Saturday. It starts Saturday. And then there's that stupid moratorium period that they do for like 5 days or some stupid shit. But I'm looking, I may actually, in the last couple of years, when the moratorium starts, you got on Twitter and you were on Schefter's page and you're like, refresh. No, Schefter's football. No,
Yeah.
Schefter is basketball.
No, Schefter's football.
Okay, you're on Woj's page. You're
Woj's
like,
page.
Woj, refresh. And you're like, give me something. Because that was when Durant, that was when, so there would be, what was it last year? It was Durant. Okay, let's go back 2 years then, right? You had Derrick Rose, you had LeBron, you had all these big name dudes that you're like, where are they going to go? This year you have Blake Griffin, you have Durant, you have Iguodala, but after those big guys that go relatively early, you would just hope for an alert that mentioned the Kings, or you'd hope for someone that's still combing Facebook to be like, oh look, there's a link. The Kings have a lot of money to spend. They're going to be active, and I think Vlade's energized this year where he won't be at a coffee shop when free agency starts, ordering coffee and not on the phone. And we're going to actually be able to scroll this and be like, give me Kings information. Because I think players are going to want to sign here. Yeah. And I'm excited for that.
And the other thing I'm going to be excited is if we start making a move and start getting better.
Is it really a 9-day moratorium period?
Yeah, I think so.
Good Lord. Thanks, Mike.
Is not hearing every single time where somebody cites a dumb franchise or a franchise with no hope and a franchise that I'm tired of being.
The Kings are interested in LeBron James.
Why would anybody want to go there?
Cool. Yeah. Everyone's interested in LeBron James.
Or they traded away these guys. They're just going to turn into another Sacramento. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of that. It's getting old.
It's getting very old.
But it's deserved.
It is.
It's deserved.
I'm just glad that Vlade finally put on his GM cap, and I think he earned it. And I think after this year and the end of last year, it's finally the proper time to call Vlade Divac the general manager of the Sacramento Kings. And you have to give a lot of credit to Scott Perry they brought in to be his assistant GM.
Right.
Because I don't think Vlade necessarily makes those deals without having him by his side. But I also feel that those two probably did so many different mocks, and I can honestly see Perry putting Vlade through, mock trade calls and different stuff to teach him the intangibles of it. And I think that, above anything, should garner a statue over Vlade getting one. And that's the assistant GM in Scott Perry. And I
can see a Scott Perry statue going up and people going, who the fuck is this?
Except for real fans be like, yes.
Yeah, I know.
It's deserved. So Vlade, I think, is going to really earn his merit. Yeah. And I think that deadline he put of 2 years on himself that says if we're not better in 2 years, I'm going to fire myself or I'm going to resign. I'm almost willing to say that they can pretty much put a rest to that timer.
Yeah,
because
I think so too.
I think the Kings are there, and we may not be a playoff team, but I think we exceed 35 wins. I think we may even be able to push toward a 500 year, depending on how free agency goes. But unfortunately, we're in the West, so 500 isn't good enough.
But for us, it is.
For us, it's
for
great.
For the Kings, that's a major step forward.
God, I wish our fucking wait.
Oh, barn bomb.
Wait. Hold on. We're going to end the show on this, so it needs to work. I have 2% battery.
Damn it, Barn Bomb.
What now?
Is it singer Steve Perry related to King Scott Perry? Hashtag don't stop believing.
Hi, this is Mike Barnbaum.
Even if it is true, I don't care. Damn it, Mike. Stop it.
I love you, Mike. I love you, but you try
40.
too hard. You try too hard.
Fox 40. All right. On that note, episode 213 is in the books. I think that was one of our best flowing episodes.
Yeah.
It's so nice to talk positive about our Sacramento Kings. July 1 free agency starts. We're working on a couple of, we'll call it big names to try to get on here.
Ding, 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 ding.
I think you just turned that into Vanilla Ice.
I know, right?
We're working on a few. We'll see how it goes. I don't see it coming to fruition the way I'm going about it, but we'll try. But that's episode 213, our Kings Draft recap. Once the audio is up, guys, please share it. I would love to start seeing some more folks coming on board with us. But for Greg Veroza, I am Greg Bowl. We appreciate you guys being on with us tonight, and it was a good one.
Yep. Night, Larry.
Good night.